Uh-huh. 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 If you didn't notice, I've got no rhythm. And one of the most self-conscious things that I can do is to move with my non-rhythm on camera and or in front of people. Wedding receptions, yup, super awkward. You know the problem? Here's the problem. If you also suffer from lack of rhythm, is this the problem? Is this your problem? Because this is my problem. So I'm asking myself, I'm thinking about me when I'm out there. Is that odd? Does that make sense? Does it even sound weird? The problem is this, I'm not just going with the music. I'm thinking, what are they thinking? And that's the worst thing in the world. You know what that's like? That's like giving a talk, right? Being up in front of a whole room full of people and saying, this is what my wife put it to me this way, saying what you think they want you to say versus what you want to say. That means it's me talking, it's you listening, and then there's this thing in the middle that breaks up that is a barrier to that effective communication. So I think what I'm saying is a lot of things that probably don't make sense. But my thinking, what are they thinking about my dancing, is really what's the barrier to my wonderful dancing. There you have it. We got to the bottom of it this morning. I'm not kidding when I say that, wake up every morning like you, do whatever you do in the morning. And it's mostly like this. It's like, tired, get out of bed. But then when I turn this freaking thing on, it just makes me so happy. So thank you for being here. Thank you. Hello, Jack Cervello. I hear my wife. Shh. Hi, honey. Bye, honey. Hi, bye. Bye. All right, you guys ready to rock and roll? I got to start this sooner. Because we're uploading these to youtube.com/CharlieSpaniard so I can't waste as much time here. All right, let's rock and roll with this morning's AMX Books 616. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the Spaniard Show. This is AMX Books 616, studying the book Unplugged. AMX. What is AMX Books? What is AMX Weekly? What is AMXTalks? What is AMXKids? Just think of AMX as our system for learning. Think of AMX as our line of media learning resources. So whenever you hear AMX, that's what I mean. It's the way in which we're learning. AMX Books, we're learning from books. Let's dive into episode number 616. Let's think about the real goal in training. Remember, this book, Unplugged, is about evolving from our technology to upgrade our fitness, performance, and consciousness. It's not necessarily throwing technology over in the corner with baby. It's not stomping on your watches and your phones, etc., but it's using it efficiently and using it for the good. Getting to that point, right, that tipping point, that fulcrum, where it becomes just enough and then too much. So one of the things I want to talk about today is the real goal in training, and this is from the book, quote, "The point we're making is that aesthetics should not be the criteria for how most people eat or train. We have to realize the real goal is our overall health and fitness." Look, I'm a wrestler. I was a fighter. I probably weigh in every day. Every morning I wake up. Every freaking day of wrestling life is stepping on a scale, and you judge it based on that. It's not aesthetics, but it's the scale. The scale was my aesthetics in wrestling, okay? So what the book is telling us, and what I'm realizing later in life, is that it's not about the scale, or it's not about the aesthetics. It's about your overall health and wellness. There's this thing called delayed gratification. I love this idea, and I'm so proud of my daughter. Already at 5 years old, she's expressing this idea of delayed gratification. I'm going to eat those vegetables because I don't like them, and then I'll have those ones because I like them, and I want to save them for last. But this idea of delayed gratification makes it hard because you start something, you start your workout routine, you start reaching towards another goal, but you don't see it right away. That's because of this thing called delayed gratification. It takes time. It takes so much time. Think of the reality of the long game. Okay, the reality of the long game in anything you do, whether it's aesthetics training whether it's building something, whether it's aiming towards mastering an instrument or a sport. Look at this show, AMX Books, 616 episodes, and recently our downloads have been cut in half because something in the technology world. It is the long game, and this idea that you must keep going, just keep going, don't stop. The goal for most of us, okay, except for the elite few who are professional athletes or have a very specific purpose in mind, the goal for most of us is to live better. And what is live better? That means how you feel, how you look, your relationships, right? Your overall relationships, your communication, your purpose. How fulfilled do you feel in your daily actions? I'm going to talk a little bit tomorrow and the next day about busyness and productivity. Are your actions fulfilling something? Are they working towards a purpose? And I really train in this holistic approach. Look, this is relatively post-fighting new, so within the last couple years. But it's like, that's what we're training for, okay? So consider those things when you're feeling the way you feel. Next thing I want to point out, there's a reminder to write and live your story, okay? Write and live your story. We all have a story. We're all writing our story. You know, I'm reading this book, The Boys in the Boat, and it really comes down to this fundamental principle. The main character, the real person, Joe, he made a decision. Okay, when I talk about this book on the show, you're going to hear how life just continually smacks him in the face and punches him in the gut and kicks him in the shins. But he made a decision. That's that. I'm going to control how I react to this stuff. And this is a reminder for you to write and actually live your story. From the book, quote, social media has made us all observers of other people's stories to the degree we cease to be an active part of our own narratives. I'm going to read that again. Social media has made us all observers of other people's stories to the degree we cease to be an active part of our own narratives. Most of us put a lot more effort into online nosiness than we do into improving our own wellness and performance. How often have you found yourself down the rabbit hole of just looking, forgetting that, hey, we can actually do something. We can write our own story. We can live our own story. Behind the facade, right? Behind the facade of everything is not perfection. There is not perfection. It does not exist. Behind the facade of things you see is work. It's highs and it's lows and it's ups and downs and it's heartbreaks and it's heartache and it's all of those things together. So what are some things that you can do? Actionable, simple stuff you can do to work towards that. 1, put your phone on airplane mode prior to laying down in your bed at night, right? How many of us lay down in bed and just scroll through our timelines looking at other people's stuff right before you go to bed? No, make a rule before you lay in your bed, your phone is on airplane mode. Read and or exercise in the morning prior to activating your phone. Okay, so 1, you're putting it on airplane before you lay down in bed. 2, you're not turning it on in the morning until you read and or exercise. And what about this one? This is simple. Read an article and tell someone what you read. How about that? Why? What purpose is that? Because it starts working your mind. It starts working the growth mind gears that you don't normally work. Telling someone will do a couple things. 1, it'll synthesize and deepen, add into your fabric what you're learning, but it'll also help you really think about what you think. By consuming knowledge, by consuming information and then redistributing it by way of your mouth, it makes you process and really digest and dilute and figure out what you feel, because those words are going to come out of your mouth. That's a secondary benefit of doing the show every day, is I've had to heighten my awareness of the words that come out of my mouth. Lastly, let's talk about identity and action and emotions. We've heard this idea come up several times over many of the books that I've read. From the book, quote, if you see that your self-worth, this is so good and it struck me right in the heart, especially because of fighting. If you see that your own self-worth has become dictated by your results, try to assess your own standards and introduce new interests that broaden your performance, your perspective on life. So if you see your self-worth tied to your results, start to reassess the situation. When I was fighting, it was win, feel great, fight, lose, feel like crap, lose again, feel like crap. It was like 6 months out of the year I was feeling like garbage. So I had to reassess, and I had to broaden my perspective on life to figure out, okay, what is this really about? And the more, I was going to say detached, but the more introspective and to the center you get, you realize that if you're listening to this show, if you're the type of person I'm assuming you are, that you realize, wow, it's not this any one thing that I like. It's all of these things that are this discipline and this hard work and this aspiration and living an inspired life and giving off positive energy and working hard and being disciplined. All of these things together make you, not the wins and not the losses. AMX book 616. Please check out the website for more learning information, program information, charliespaniard.com. Connect on social media. All of these links are now on my podcast feed in iTunes, Stitcher, whatever podcast app you use, and search out Spaniard Show. See you, friends. Hello, everybody. And reminder to you all, these videos will be uploaded to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/CharlieSpaniard, and I know at least one of you subscribe to it. Thank you, Rick. Greatly appreciate that one. Maybe we'll get another one, or maybe all of this work will be for naught, but it doesn't matter because we're going to figure it out. Dread, is that not right? Dread, if you're there, can I get an amen? Can I get an amen, Dread? I'll be back tomorrow for AMX 617. A reminder that Thursday is Thanksgiving, and we will be here on Thanksgiving as well. And I'm very thankful for you all. So thank you. And AMXKids comes out tomorrow. I will see you on the flip side.